Happy Friday. Friday, February 5th, 2021. TGIF. You gonna watch Family Matters tonight, followed by Full House? Was there any other shows on TGIF that I'm missing? I feel like those were the two main shows. So, Inquirer came. It was dusted in some snow. It was a little moist getting it. Just the plastic, not the actual inside of the Inquirer. When I went out, there's a little bit of a snowfall going on. I put my boots on, went out to the end of the driveway, and I stabilized myself because with a little bit of ice going on. My paper, dusted off some of the snow, brought it in, pour myself a cup of Joe. Got my sweetheart, Gracie, down here doing her thing. Who knows when that might turn? That's okay. That's what we're all about. So, let's just dig in. 1 minute to 7 a.m. Friday, February 5th. First Friday of the month. For those keeping track. So, whatever you do to celebrate first Fridays of the month. I don't know if you go to your favorite commercial establishment and have a good time. You know. Oh, wait. And that was before March 13th, 2020. So you're going to be staying in the house tonight. You know what you could do? Actually, you can catch up on all my past reads. They're like half an hour to 40 minutes each. So you could just kind of hunker down, do a binge watch. Catch up on past news. Separating sections time. Let's get to it. See what's going on in the world. At least according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. Front section. Above the fold. Draws my attention right there. Teachers not safe to return out of the city of Philly. We'll get more into that as we break down the sections. Like Grace? Cool. Region. Here's life. A life. And sports. Looks like I'm having a little bit of a streaming issue here, according to my streaming program. I'm going to keep plowing along. Hopefully it'll rebound. Let's go to sports. Okay? What's going on in the sports section today? I know that the Sixers, don't know what happened there. I mean, last night, again, the game ended too late for coverage in this edition. Your typical little thing we see. But, yeah, I think they got outscored 40-19 or something like that in the third quarter. I mean, Embiid was just tearing things up in the first half, and then everything went downhill there in the third quarter. Again, Simmons missed the game with left calf tightness. Perhaps he'll be back for the next game, which I don't see here. Typically, it says what the next game would be. I don't see it here above the headline, so maybe I'll look when we get to the standings and see when that game would be. But, you know, he can't win them all. 102. No, what was the final score? Oh, again, not in this edition. So I knew they lost. Today's front page of sports says there's a big picture of John Chaney. Coverage on him today. Try and get this light a little bit better for us in the other feed. How's that? Just a little bit better. One QB's opinion on Wentz. Kurt Warner said it's a, quote, fascinating situation. By Paul Domowitch. We know that Carson Wentz is broken and needs to be fixed. What we don't know at the moment is who is going to be doing the repair work. General Manager Howie Roseman, fingers on your hand analogy about Wentz last month, despite owner Jeffrey Lurie talking about how the Eagles want to get the 28-year-old quarterback back to the elite progression. It's beginning to look more and more like fixing Wentz will be somebody else's problem. ESPN's Adam Schefter appeared on 97.5 The Fanatic a couple of days ago and said that the dismissal of Doug Peterson and the hiring of Nick Sirianni hasn't really changed Wentz's desire to be traded. I guess this is the chatter that with the development maybe Joe Banner was mentioning last night in his tweet. I did see a tweet from Joe Banner saying something like, it seems to me that the Wentz situation is going to come to a conclusion of him not being here. So let's get to it. I was just curious, like, where did that come from? Where did that seems to be originate? Is it just general talk amongst the sports radio and sports pundits, or is there some like concrete thing? Not just rumor and Wentz's desires. Maybe this is it. On Thursday, the NFL Network reported that the Eagles have been fielding calls this week from teams asking about Wentz's availability. That doesn't mean the Eagles are shopping him, but the fact of the matter is, even though he's coming off an atrocious season, Wentz has all the leverage right now. If he doesn't want to play for the Eagles anymore, they can't really make him. I mean, they obviously can, but they'd be fools to try and make him. There's absolutely no upside to keeping a $34 million a year quarterback who doesn't want to be here. Listen, I'm trying to be very diplomatic on this program about my stance on certain issues. I'm just trying to deliver the news, occasionally provide some lighthearted commentary. But I've never shied away or hid my disdain or distaste. I mean, not disdain might be a little bit strong of a word. For Carson Wentz. I don't think he's that great. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. And I don't, frankly, have too much concern if he elbows his way out of Philadelphia. Go be somebody else's problem, like Domowitch said. You're not that great, man. That's my hot take. You're not really that good. So, and you're like kind of an annoying dude. All right. You're just kind of an annoying dude. So, peace. Flyers get another shot at the Bruins. 7 o'clock tonight. Bad penalties, bad penalty killing, bad ending to a game the Flyers seem to have under control. The Flyers, whose penalty killing was dominating during their 4-game winning streak. Hey, cutie. You looking at the paper? I'll bring you up in a second. Allowed 3 power play goals in the final 8 minutes, 26 seconds on Wednesday, turning a 3-1 lead in the third period into a 4-3 overtime loss to the Boston Bruins. You've got no time to feel sorry for yourself, Coach Alain Vigneault said. You've got to get right back to it. That's what we're going to do. They get a chance of redemption tonight when they host the Bruins, with the winner taking over sole possession of first place in the East Division. Big game. Something to do to celebrate the first Friday of the month. Again, you can't go bar hopping and doing whatever it is you like to do. So, throw on Comcast Sportsnet. Watch the Flyers. My grace, is this only a good idea or a bad idea? I consider it a good idea, so I might take my own advice. Okay. But again, big spread here, John Chaney. you want to read more about the ex-Temple coach who recently passed. Oh, 3 pages worth. 3 full pages worth. Remembering John Chaney in their own words. People, I guess, sharing memories on the coaching great. Looking at the standings here as we do when we get to the second to last page. Sixers at 16-6, make that 16-7. Their next game will be Saturday against the Nets. That'll be a good game. Really good game. So make sure you watch that. That's going to be at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is typically a nationally televised game. So that's probably on ESPN or something. TNT. TBS. TWH. Yeah. Before we get to weather, let's see what the NHL is doing regarding its virus protocol changes, huh? With COVID-19 problems cropping up and 4 teams currently idled, the NHL has revised its virus protocols in a bid to keep the shortened season on track. Glass panels have been removed from behind benches for better airflow. Players and coaches are not allowed at the arena until 1 hour or 45 minutes before the game unless they're getting treatment for injuries, and all meetings must be virtual. Teams are also told to space out locker rooms more to provide 6 feet of space between people. And these are just like mitigating strategies they're doing now. Hey guys, we actually need 6 feet, not 2. You know, they just came down with that information like, I don't know, 8 months ago. So we got to get to that. 6 feet. Oh, also, stop meeting as a big group of people, like congregating together in a small room. There's this thing called Zoom that we've been using since, like, I don't know, April. Let's try that. Weather. Like I said, a little bit of snow coming down this morning. High of 46 is, like, pretty warm here in the area. And you can see it's the highest of the whole stretch here today. So if the sun comes out, snow, even if the snow ceases, it could be a good outdoor activity day if you bundle up a little bit. Saturday looks like it's going to be tomorrow. Primo. 42 degrees, bright sunshine, a little bit of a breeze. And there's some snow. Some snow. Very cold with some sun next Saturday. You see where we're trending here. Today sunset, 5:25. Creeping up to 5:30. Oh, life. No, life is bigger. All right. Is this the Weeknd? It's a jam I heard yesterday from the Weeknd that I liked. Now listen, I'm late to the game, I'm sure, with this jam. Definitely late to the game. But I like this. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's got a kind of an indie sound. Getting ready for the weekend. Literally end the artist. I just made that up, like right off the top of my head. I made those connections, just like that. The Weeknd is coming to the Wells Fargo Center. Not this weekend, no. In fact, not even this year. The Canadian singer, who will headline the Super Bowl halftime show, has announced his After Hours Arena Tour, which kicks off next January 14th in Vancouver, and is scheduled to bring the singer to South Philly on April 3rd, 2022. I think this has an indie sound. I know my indie music too, so I'm sensing that vibe. Anyway, yeah, so you're gonna have to wait like a year. You have to wait a year for the Weeknd, and hopefully by then there'll be some calmness to our lives around COVID restrictions, and you can actually go to this concert and see him perform Blinding Lights and In Your Eyes and The Hills and I'm reading from his set list, or I'm reading from his album list here, so I'm not pretending as if I know his catalog. I'm just reading off of Spotify here. Heartless, Escape from LA, Snow Child. Hopefully you can see all those things live about a year or 2 months from now. The news of this tour comes as the concert industry is still largely at a standstill since coronavirus. The closest things to a pop-up concert at Wells Fargo have been at last summer's live-in, drive-in outdoor shows across the street in Citizens Bank Park. Only time will tell if the Weeknd can join us on a weekend and sing live in a stadium with people in it. Will Smith to host a Netflix series on the 14th Amendment. Will Smith very diversifies his portfolio. I was watching Cobra Kai a couple days ago. I was just waiting for it to start up. You know, they were doing the credits. It was right after the big title comes on the screen, and they were doing their executive producers and their directors and all the other things. And I saw Will Smith underneath executive producer. I said, "Is that the Will Smith? Or is that just some random person that happens to be named Will Smith, coincidentally?" So I went on my Googling, and I said, "Oh, Will Smith, Cobra Kai." And it came back that the two are connected. Turns out Will Smith owns the rights to Cobra Kai, or his production company, I believe, owns the rights from the Cobra Kai to the Karate Kid. And I remember Jaden Smith was in like a reboot of the Karate Kid a couple of years back, which kind of was like, oh, aha. So Will Smith got the Karate Kid movies, parlayed it into a show, and now he's the executive producer on it. I mean, that's just great. So what's he doing now? He's going to be playing a history teacher on Netflix this month as host and executive producer of Amend, The Fight for America, a 6-episode documentary series about the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. You want to watch it too? Modified in 1868, the amendment, among other things, established that citizens of the United States are entitled to equal protection under the law. And by defining citizenship as, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, it effectively included formerly enslaved people among those entitled to such protection. Quote, we are living in unprecedented days as a society, as a country, and as a human family, Smith said in a statement released by Netflix. I believe that the cultivation of personal and historical understanding is the imperative spark, igniting the flames of desperately needed compassion and healing. A deeper understanding of the 14th Amendment is a critical jumping-off point. Among the actors participating in the series, which will premiere on February 17th, are Mahershala Ali, Sterling K. Brown, Laverne Cox, Diane Lane, Samuel L. Jackson, Randall Park, Pedro Pascal, and Yara Shahidi. Nice diverse cast for a subject that is well worth exploring, and for the public and viewers and general to know more about. I mean, it's good to watch that, you know, or you could watch something like The Floor is Lava. And, you know, while the latter might bring about more immediate, you know, empty calories type fun, the former could very well help you grow as a person. Hey now. Whoa, what's with this? Wawa and Sheetz teaming up? It's like, it's almost like Johnny Lawrence and Daniel Son teaming up. Wait a minute, doesn't that happen? Wawa fans stand ready at the moment's notice to arm themselves with hoagie rolls and defend their beloved convenience store against attacks from marauding Sheetz fans. But on Wednesday, the leaders of both chains announced that they're working in partnership toward a common goal. Is nothing sacred anymore? Wawa and Sheetz take the plunge together, the sizzly email subject line said, leaving the reader to wonder if the chains behind one of the most bizarre rivalries in the state were eloping, merging, or announcing their entry into politics. The answer, it turns out, is a far better thing. Wawa CEO Chris Dysons and Sheetz CEO Joe Sheetz. Oh, you know that? Did you know that the CEO of Sheetz is actually Sheetz? Kind of a cool last name to put on your convenience store. Sheetz. Teamed up in a, quote, show of unification to take Special Olympics Pennsylvania's virtual Polar Pop Challenge this month to raise money for the nonprofit. Since Special Olympics Pennsylvania's annual Polar Plunge fundraiser was put on hold due to COVID this year, the organization took its fundraiser, which runs through February, virtually. Supporters now urged to make a donation and commit to raising funds for the cause at papolarpop.org. And then film themselves popping a balloon filled with cold water over their heads. Participants are asked to share the footage on social media under the hashtag freezinforareason. Freezin, no G. And challenge 5 of their friends to do the same. In the very least Wednesday, Dyson's, Sheetz, and 7 of their employees take the challenge and urge their customers to do the same. Both CEOs also pledged to donate $5,000 to the fundraiser. That's nice. You know, the rivalry coming together, the you know, kind of a copacetic kind of reunion or union of sorts to bring about attention to a good cause, raise funds. I'm happy with that. I will say, $5,000 from each of those companies is a little low. A little low. I mean, they probably make $5,000, I don't know, a second, every 10 seconds on shorties and turkey bowls, the gobbler. Do they have the gobbler outside of Thanksgiving? Like, is it one of those secret menu things? Like, if you go to Chipotle and you ask for something that they don't have on the menu, they're like, oh, I got you. I'm going to head to the back and get that for you. Like, could you say that at a Wawa? And they just go to the back and they find a cranberry sauce or the secret cranberry sauce stash and secret, like, stuffing stash. Either way, $5,000. Seems like they could have upped that a little bit, but I appreciate the gesture. Right, Grace? Oh boy! And it just kind of sneaks up on you. It sneaks up on you. You're like, oh, I'm getting through life. Oh, I'm commenting on this story. Oh, I'm commenting on that story. Oh, that's CAROLYN. It's time for the advice column already. So let's do it. What is the question for her today? What is somebody's crisis, personal crisis? Question. I have a daughter whose family usually leaves the country for the holidays. She does ask if we would like to join her, but my husband doesn't even consider the offer. 2 days before this past Christmas, with just the 2 of us at home, he asks a guy friend who would be alone at Christmas to come stay with us for a few days. During this time, they are inseparable, and I am just a body. They hunt, fly model helicopters. I cook. I sat by myself Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, alone. Is this my fault? And by allowing this, I set myself up? I was hoping I would get a little quality time. I need to find my way through this. CAROLYN says, presumably you are through it by now, or at least through to February. But there's something timeless here and not holiday dependent. The story you tell is of deferring to others out of an unspoken sense of duty. That this is how marriage or family work. So you're going to do your part. Meanwhile, your daughter and husband do what they want. I actually won't endorse one worldview or the other of acting unilaterally or deferring. Both can be healthy and both can be abused. The self-attuned can be selfish, and the family-attuned can be passive enforcers of a system built around their own martyrdom. Interesting. What matters is mutuality. It's right on the line here, so it's kind of hard to see. And for that, you need transparency and agreement. I have little to go on, but it looks as if your daughter has it right. You're aware she travels. She invites you. She goes regardless. She does what is right for her and offers inclusion for the taking. You know where you stand. You and your husband, by contrast, are out of sync. You live by expectations you believe are shared, and leave unspoken because they're supposed to be shared. But your husband lives as if he never read that part of the manual. You thought you were having a together Christmas, and he thought he was helping a friend. Disappointment ensues. It sounds like we just need more communication. I mean, that's my take. My quick take. I'm not a licensed advice columnist, though. And when he apparently either ignored or forgot you on Christmas Eve, you didn't tug him aside later to say, "Hello, you ditched me." So please direct your next steps toward transparency and agreement. If you want to be more self-attuned, then learn to stop deferring on reflex and start answering to yourself. That includes understanding what you want, articulating it, offering others the chance to join you there, and then doing what's right for you regardless. Traveling with your daughter next Christmas, for example, whether your husband joins you or not. If you instead prefer to keep orienting yourself around your marriage, again, each approach can be valid, then learn to communicate both what you intend and what you hope will come of it. There's that C word, communication. I might have been onto something. And if he emotionally strains you again, then speak up, ideally in a moment. Reiterate what you want, see whether he comes through for you, and proceed accordingly from there. Sometimes we wind up alone when we don't want to, yes, which is why it's so important to get our priorities straight with ourselves. See, I read these for a reason because there's good stuff in there. There's good nuggets. There's good nuggets of information and advice and things you can take away, carry with you. Sean? Hey, did you say it was time to read the region? Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, well. Luckily it happens to be in my hand. So I can read it. This is where it gets a little deep, though. I'm not going to lie. This is where the read gets a little deep. It's home. It's this one down here, below the fold. Kind of tucked into the right hand. Kind of tucked here into the right hand side. What are they saying? PA schools to keep names, sports teams. What's that? The system overseeing PA state universities is seeking NCAA's approval for a merger plan. The system overseeing Pennsylvania State Universities is continuing plans to integrate 6 of its 14 schools into 2 entities, but has decided that those schools will retain their names and possibly their sports teams. Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education is seeking approval from the NCAA so that, quote, so that we can maintain our athletic teams on all 6 campuses as they are today, Bloomsburg University President Bashar Hanna said. That means that even if the system's plan to integrate Lock Haven, Mansfield, and Bloomsburg universities into one entity, and Clarion, California, and Edinburgh into another are approved, there still could be 6 football teams or 6 field hockey teams. The team studying integrations found that all the sports teams bring money into the universities. The 6 university names would still appear on students' degrees. I have to read more about this because I'm a little bit confused. Like, I could spend the time reading the entire article here, but I know, time is of the essence. Oh, there it is. I mean, you can see there's a good 4 columns, small columns, 5 columns. But what I'm confused about is, so you're going to have 3 schools become 1 school. 3 schools become 1 school. But you're going to have 6 teams. So, I don't know, let's call it 3A. 3A. Because there's 3A, B, and C in the one group, right? And 3A, B, and C in the other group. Well, 3A and 3B play each other in the same school. And how do you know which team you're on? I guess you just play with the team that you were on before you merged. But then what happens when they all merge? And then new students come in, they have to pick a team. I'm going to play for Bloomsburg, even though I'm in the same school as somebody from Lock Haven. Maybe they explain it more in the rest of the article. So I don't want to judge. I'm going to read more of it. But it seems like I hope they have the plan kind of hammered out a little bit more, with more clarity, because I'm a little lost on how that could actually work. Car stop ends in a $4 million drug bust. Somebody had $4 million worth of drugs in her car. Bedminster Township police officer James Zucco was on patrol late January 29th when he saw a sedan swerving recklessly, investigators said. He had no idea that this routine car stop will lead county investigators to a massive cache of heroin and fentanyl being trafficked across the country. Trafficked. The car's driver, Christian Okoa, 28, and his passenger, Edith Rodriguez Cardenas, 27, now face felony drug offenses. After Bucks County, detectives found several kilos of the powerful narcotics in the vehicle, as well as a second stash inside a tractor trailer that O'Connor owns. Between the two vehicles, investigators estimate the value of nearly 20 kilos, about 40 pounds of drugs, at about $4 million. Yeah, you got anywhere near close to $4 million worth of fentanyl and heroin in your car, you better drive a straight line. You better put hands 12 and 2, or 10 and 2. Look straight ahead. Maybe put on some classical music. Turn real low. Stop at all the stop signs. Look both ways. I'm not saying you should be transporting anything in your car that's illegal. I'm just saying, if you are of the persuasion to attempt such a feat, you want to drive straight lines. Up and down the streets. I want to drive during like the middle of the day too. You know? Avoid all shadiness. Officers charged in horrific NG prison assaults. Let me just take it back. We'll rewind a second. Good to get it off the streets. Okay? I'm making light a little bit of the way the guy's driving. But, hey, helped us get it off the streets. I want to make that clear. No one needs in this world $4 million worth of heroin and fentanyl to be floating around, people using it. Okay, that's the end of that story. So, officers charged in horrific NJ prison assaults. New Jersey prosecutors have filed charges against a correctional officer and 2 sergeants who oversaw a cell extraction at a women's prison that allegedly turned into a series of violent assaults, leaving inmates with injuries, including a concussion and an orbital wall fracture. According to Grewal, who is the New Jersey Attorney General, 6 women at the prison in Hunterdon County reported injuries in the January incident, which involved more than 24 officers. It's quite the melee. The officers deployed pepper spray, rushed into the inmate's cell, and beat several of the victims without justification, Grewal said. He said one woman was beaten while handcuffed. Another was punched 28 times as she huddled against the wall, trying to shield her face with her arms. Then he said the officers tried to cover it up. Governor Phil Murphy, who has called the incident horrific and sickening and abhorrent, released a statement Thursday pledging that the charges will be accompanied by a, quote, full accounting of how this incident was able to happen so that we can put in place necessary safeguards and reforms. Good thing to find out. The BLM movement goes to school with new impetus. And its educational work has taken on new meaning after the killing by police of George Floyd last year. This week, the first graders at Tamar LaShore Owens' class have started social studies lessons the same way every day, belting out the lyrics to a Black Lives Matter song that encourages them to speak up about social justice. LaShore Owens said that she used the catchy song to engage students in her virtual class at the Leeds Avenue School in Pleasantville to mark Black Lives Matter at School Week of Action. Teachers across the country are sharing lessons and having frank conversations about the movement with students of all ages. In Philadelphia, where more than 50% of students are black, students began learning about the Black Lives Matter movement in 2017. Other cities, including New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, are also teaching it. The idea was a brainchild of the Caucus of Working Educators, an activist group within the Philadelphia Federation of Teachers. City schools are participating for the 5th straight year, said district spokesperson Monica Lewis. During the hour-long social studies class with first graders ages 6 and 7, LaShore Owen showed the class a Sesame Street Black Lives Matter video. In the clip, Elmo questions his father about racism and protests. Students listened intently. Most responded by putting sad emojis on a jam board. That means not right. Treating people unfairly, LaShore Owens explained. Students said, everybody should be treated fairly. All Black Lives Matter. And then responded, LaShore Owens, yes they do. Collingswood High School history teacher Eric Feldman said he supports teaching about the movement, but wants it presented throughout the school year. He teaches American history in a civil rights and social justice elective course. It can't just be the one and done, said Feldman. Black history is America history. The National Education Association, one of the country's largest teachers' unions, encouraged its members to participate in activities from February 1st to 5th, but not just lesson plans. It called for implementing restorative justice practices, hiring more black teachers, and mandating black history and ethnic studies. I am sure there are people not happy about that, for whatever they want to say, however they want to claim, I'm not happy about it. I'm going to let them do their thing. But I think it's great. So, I can imagine some school districts that wouldn't fly, though, which is sad. All right. Pretty sure for a peaceful moment. A peaceful moment here, looking at those of the past. And then we're going to move on to the front section. And then we're going to be done. Here they are. Here's today's crop of those that have passed on. What do we have today? Who can we remember? Who can we acknowledge? Oh, Claire Marie Schwartz, known as Ree. Her kids finally remember her homemade ice cream waffle sandwiches for dinner and warm apple pie on Christmas morning. She had immense creativity, silliness, quirkiness, and always tried to do her best. She will be remembered and loved, always and forever. Rest in peace, Claire Marie. Oh, John Haggerty died suddenly, February 2nd, age 57, young. Again, whenever I see died suddenly, a younger person, I think, what happened? I don't expect to know what happened. It's not my right to know. It's not my purview to know. But I do wonder. And I wonder about their family. I say, I hope the family's okay. I mean, everybody that passes away is survived by family members that are sad or upset, of course. But when it's suddenly, I wonder. Somebody who died of complications of COVID, Sharon Hofferman. January 24th. She worked at the Philadelphia school system as a counselor and academic advisor, as well as serving as acting VP at Edison High School, where she broke new ground doing group dynamics with gang members. She retired at age 70. COVID. Another one. Stephen Lemmer, who's known as Mr. Fix-It. He's a reliable guy who always showed up when he was needed, from fixing cars and household plumbing to solving computer malfunctions and babysitting his grandkids. He offered assistance to countless family members and friends. After retiring from a career in marketing, he volunteered in his community, including many years as a member of SCORE, RSVP, and the Monco Youth Aid Panel. Stephen loved sailing. Some of his family's fondest memories are of the summer weekends they sailed in and around the Chesapeake. He learned to scuba dive. He joined a dragon boat team. He enjoyed going down the shore. He was married to a dancer/photographer, and he attended countless dance, theater, and art and musical events. He was a regular spectator at his grandchildren's school performances and soccer matches. He loved joking around and sometimes would laugh until tears were streaming down his face. I don't even know this guy, but I'm sad. Seems like a good dude. Seems like a guy who just got it done. 1939 he was born. It looks like he helped a lot of people. Rest in peace, Steve. You got a 94-year-old here. You got a 100-year-old here. Grace Clayton. 100 years old. She made it to the century mark, Grace. I think she is. I'm sorry. My apologies. Her name is definitely not Grace. Yes, it is. Up here. I'm not the wrong person. He's right here. 100. Passed away the 31st. Everybody here, sweet dreams. All right. Moving on from the obits. It's always worth some time, right? It definitely is a little bit of more of a somber moment. Not as much humor, even if there are some raspberries happening. It's still kind of a heavy moment. All right, well, now we're going to get back to potentially some opportunities for some riffing here on the front page. Back to that city teachers saying it's not safe to return to school piece, top of the fold. What's that all about? Union seeks a third-party view, but Haidt is holding his ground. By Kristen Graham and Maddie Hanna. These are your two education reporters for the suburbs of Philly and within Philly. So they double-teamed on this one. They're really going to tackle this article together. Gracie, how you doing over there? Okay. The Philadelphia School District and its teachers union on Thursday moved toward a possible showdown over plans to reopen schools next week, with teachers questioning whether it's safe to return to buildings, and Superintendent William R. Haidt Jr. saying he expected them to do so. Days after criticism erupted over the district's plan to use window fans to improve ventilation during the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw that together, right? Looked at those window fans together. Philadelphia Federation of Teachers President Jerry Jordan, who we also, a couple days ago, read an op-ed from, Mr. Jordan, called on the city to assign a neutral third party to assess if buildings are ready for reopening Monday. Haidt acknowledged that the expert's opinion, an option to open to the PFT under terms of a reopening agreement signed by the union and district last fall, could possibly delay students' return for in-class instruction. It will be a third such change in the reopening plan since last summer. But the superintendent said it will not delay our expectations for teachers to be in classrooms on February 8th. Wow. So he's basically saying, listen, okay, fine. We will have a third party potentially come in and say how they look at classrooms, if these fans are working, whatever other stuff we need to do. But you're coming in. You're coming in on Monday. Kids or no kids, is what he's trying to say. Here's Jerry Jordan. I don't think it's a bad idea, to be honest with you, that you have a third party come in, a neutral party, and say, okay, fine, we're going to assess everything. We're going to do air tests. We're going to do, we're going to look at these fans. We're going to, whatever it is that they have to do. We're going to check out your mask supply. Look at your plan. Look at your health and safety plan if you have one. I mean, critique that. If it's another layer that they can provide to assure safety, neither Jordan nor Haidt has been willing to speculate on what would happen if the two can't reach agreement on reopening conditions. But Chicago teachers have refused to report to schools over building conditions, forcing the district to scuttle its reopening plans. A strike is possible there. If you want to read more about that whole situation, which I will be doing as well, offline, you can go to inquirer.com/coronavirus. She's over here just kind of like laying down. Just kind of like taking it easy. I like it. She's taking it easy. Resting up before the big bus ride. You're more than welcome to have any opinion you want about that situation in the city. Anybody's entitled to their opinion. Believe me, there's plenty of them out there. I try to look at it from all sides. But it is hard to separate Philly's kind of historic reputation, or the reputation of Philly, to just kind of blunder, have like a blundering sort of rollout of things, just kind of mired in, I don't know what, just hiccups along the way, or just, again, we talked about it yesterday with the company that they hired to distribute the vaccines, with them forgetting to put it on the and to advertise the amendment to the Constitution so it can make it in the spring. Back and forth over how to get kids back to school. Things just don't seem to run just smooth. There seems to be some sort of a jagged edge, tripping everybody up. In polls, 61% say they approve of Biden's performance so far. 2 weeks into a new administration, the majority of Americans say they have at least some confidence in President Joe Biden and his ability to manage the myriad crises facing the nation, including the raging coronavirus pandemic. Dare I say this? I'm going to. Washington Post, this is an Associated Press piece, right? And they qualify coronavirus pandemic with the word raging. Right? Right? They say raging here in the first paragraph before coronavirus pandemic. I don't know if it was necessary. If I was an editor, I would have cut that qualifier. I just would. I just would say, we don't need it. Let's just call it the coronavirus pandemic. But I'm not the editor, but that's what I would have suggested. Even at a moment of deep national divisions, these numbers suggest Biden, as with most of his recent predecessors, may enjoy something of a honeymoon period. Nearly all modern presidents have had approval ratings averaging 55% or higher over the first 3 months in office. There was one exception. Guess who? Go ahead, guess. You got it. Donald Trump. His approval rating never surpassed 50%. Even at the start of his presidency. Moving on to... oh, here they are. Let's take a look at these fans again. Are they tied to... What are they connected to these wooden planks? I'm confused about that. Where are they going to go? Or are they just, that's how they came, and they're going to take them off those planks and put them in windows? The saga of the window fans continues. More pictures that make you say, Trump won't be testifying. The impeached ex-president rejected a request that his lawyers called a, quote, stunt. House Democrats on Thursday asked former President Donald Trump to testify about his role in the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol. An invitation as advisors was immediately rejected, and one that gives no indication as to whether more witnesses will be called to next week's Senate impeachment trial. Representative Jamie Raskin, the lead impeachment manager, wrote to Trump that he was inviting the former president to testify because his lawyers had disputed the allegation that he incited the January 6th insurrection, despite, quote, clear and overwhelming evidence. Quote, if you decline this invitation, we reserve any and all rights, including the right to establish at trial that your refusal to testify supports a strong adverse inference regarding your actions and inaction on January 6th, 2021, Raskin wrote. Trump's lawyer goes, the president will not testify in an unconstitutional proceeding. Actually, that's a spokesperson, Jason Miller. Can't we just make him? You can't just make him testify? I don't know. Can't you just say, hey, you're subpoenaed? You have to? Like this is a trial? My full disclaimer, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I could be completely off base. But, if I got called to, be on trial for something, and I was the one being on trial, and they said, hey, you have to testify, I don't think I, as a regular guy, could be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to come. I'm busy. I think I'd be like, hey, get over here. You're testifying, pal. I don't know. Again, I could be completely off. People could be laughing at me in the peanut gallery out there. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just saying, I feel like if somebody came at me and said I did something, and they had some sort of like proof or evidence supporting that stance, they'd be like, here's your subpoena. You got to come. And I want to be able to say, like, no. I didn't play video games that day. I'd have to go, I would think. Super Bowl 55. I don't know. LV? What is that? 55? It's a not so hot ticket. Prices keep dropping days before the big game, where cardboard cutouts will outnumber fans in the stands. The week's price decline surprised many, especially because the values had spiked right after the January 24th conference championship. After Tom Brady led the Bucs to their first NFC title, the price for available tickets jumped from $10,000 to $14,000. Since then, they've been going in reverse. Last year, in the weeks leading up to the game, prices actually increased about 40%. This year, they're down 40%. Maybe do the math. That would be 50% of 14,000 is 7,000. 40% is what? 6,000. Still $6,000 a ticket. Still not worth it, in my personal opinion. Oh, let me go to a stadium in Florida during the middle of a pandemic for $6,000. Sounds awesome. I want to be sitting next to a cardboard cutout. I'll just stay in my house and eat by myself. Remember, I'm gonna stay in my house by myself. Not inviting anybody over. Fauci said, "Cool it." So I'm just gonna be in my house with my wife, my children, eating wings, doing my thing. Maybe get a hoagie, Italian hoagie. I go mayo. I go light mayo. I go light oil. I go lettuce, tomato, pickles. I know. Get some flack for the pickles, but I go pickles on the hoagie. I do light onions. Sometimes onions can overpower a hoagie. Sometimes I'll do oregano if I'm in the mood. Sometimes I'll just do no oregano. Maybe a little bit of pepper. That's how I roll on the Italian hoagie. Sounds good, doesn't it? I'll get one today. We've reached letters and op-eds. Oh boy. So, as we look through the letters and op-eds, I'm going to introduce a new segment to my show. It's called Today's Letter. What is today's letter exactly, you ask? Well, what we're going to do, I've decided, this is my program. What we're going to do, we're going to look at the letters from the people, the regular folks. We're going to read the name of the person who wrote the letter into the Inquirer and the headline that the Inquirer has chosen to give the letter, and we're going to choose one to read. You're not going to know which one I'm going to choose. You'll know which ones are the options, but it's going to be today's letter. So let's see what today's letter is. We got Lily Falcon, a rush to reopen schools, as well as Ruth Shapiro Friedman. That's also a rush to reopen schools. Anita A. Summers, education depolarizes. SEPTA, please be consistent, by Michael B., Philadelphia. David M. Levin, Biden's been busy. And Joe Zaccarizzi, Plymouth meeting, need for speed causes fatalities. I'm going to tell you right now, one wins, and I'll tell you why before I even read the article. I was also taken aback by somebody's letter complaining about speed cameras and traffic stops or other sorts of warnings on Roosevelt Boulevard and Broad Street. Somebody wrote in complaining that there were too many speed, cameras or things on the Roosevelt Boulevard. And I thought to myself, do you know how many people have died on that street? Like, did you understand that before you wrote this letter complaining about the fact that there are cameras to slow people down? So I want to see this letter writer, Mr. Zacharewski. Looks like he's a kindred spirit. Let's go. I was stunned after reading a writer's letter regarding driving on Roosevelt Boulevard and his feeling that it was the most miserable driving experience due to warnings regarding camera enforcement for speeding and driving through traffic lights. I suggest he type Roosevelt Boulevard in his web browser. He'll discover that the boulevard is in the top 5 of the most dangerous highways in the country, with an average of 700 accidents and 10 fatalities each year. 10 people dying each year on that road. I don't have updated data, but I've got to believe these cameras have had an incredible impact on overall safety on Route 1. The only, quote, torture on this highway was felt by the families and friends that experienced the tragic loss of life. Thank you, Joe. You deserve the letter of the day, because I also feel that the person who wrote that letter complaining about traffic cameras on that road was completely uninformed about, again, to the person's credit or defense, I think they did say they're not from the area. They were traveling through. They might not know the history of that street and how deadly it's been. But I'm glad the Inquirer published a letter from someone who was questioning that position, because I also was like, wait a minute. Should we do 2 letters today? I said today's a letter. It doesn't say letters, but I kind of want to read one more. You want to read one about SEPTA, the Southeast Pennsylvania Transportation Authority? I don't just mean consistency in running vehicles on schedule. There's oncoming snow, you get a pass there. I mean with regards to your policy on mask wearing. This summer I was denied rides twice due to forgetting my mask. Both bus drivers even made it very clear that was the reason for barring my entry. Lesson learned. If I want to ride, I mask up. Fast forward 7 months and I see more and more uniformed SEPTA employees riding the L without masks. This weekend, one uniformed gentleman even stood in the train car doorway. Hey, it's roomy for passengers to scurry around. But drivers are increasingly without masks as well. Is the plexiglass supposed to be an alternative? With the CDC recently taking a more official stance on mask wearing aboard public transportation, it's time for more consistency from SEPTA's workers. This isn't another, quote, we're getting there moment. This is a matter of you continuing to do your part as an essential service. Bonus letter of the day for you. I think it was worth reading. I agree that, hey, if you want people to mask up on your premises or as part of a service you're providing, you need them to also mask to benefit from that service. People who work there better be masked. They better be masked. It's all about the optics as well as safety. And then we have one last thing, and then we're going to be going because I got to get her ready. Time has flown with this read. It's a long one, but it was a good one. A lot of stuff. Just real quick to show you, they have a pro and con today if you want to choose a side here. Pro and con on, should PA elect judges based on geography? Yes, it will diversify courts, limit corruption. Russ Diamond is a representative in the 102nd Legislative District in the PA House of Reps, serving part of Lebanon County. Then you have no regional influence could impede decisions. Ooh. And that's by Khadija Kenner, Director of Campaigns for the PA Budget and Policy Center. So if you want to know what side to stand on, or you maybe already have a side and you just want it to be validated, or you have an open mind and you want to be swayed either way, Inquirer.com. All right. We made it by 8 o'clock. This was a good long read. It was like an hour read today. I took my time with this one. And Grace, you were awesome today. Want to just say goodbye to everybody before we get you ready? You were so nice today. You did such a nice job. Hey, bye. Have a nice day, everyone. Until tomorrow. Was it Saturday? Okay, I'll do a Saturday read. I may skip a Sunday read. I'm debating about whether or not to skip Sunday reads because it's a lot on Sundays. But I'll think about that separately. But tomorrow I definitely will be here. I'm definitely going to do Saturdays. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a nice time. It's Friday. Have a smile. And I'll see you later. Thanks for